Tubers, tubets, crazy people. Well, this is a little video about should I or should I not finally break down and buy a car. Rainy season is upon us, and when you drive a motorbike, motorcycle, scooter, two wheels basically, and it's raining outside, it's not impossible for me or myself in May to go down the hill and buy basic necessities or grab the proverbial cup of coffee, but it's not going to be pleasant. We're going to have to get gear on, the rain gear. It's more dangerous and it's slippery. I wear glasses. I can't wear the glasses with the rain hitting it, so I've got to take my glasses off. My vision is not going to be as clear, as it's going to be a little bit impaired. And I think the primary motivator is really above and beyond comfort, like shelter from the storm or air conditioning on a hot day. A lot of storage space if we take a trip or go somewhere. The primary driver for me being interested in purchasing a vehicle is safety. I have a new motorbike, which I haven't reviewed yet. I don't know why. Just sort of escaped my mind. But I gave the gay-looking little scooter off to May's family, and I purchased a Honda ADV 150, which is great. It's higher ground clearance, rides better, rides smoother, safer, the whole enchilada. However, it's still two wheels, and it's not four. If I can give you all the fours, and I can give you all the againsts. So the pros and the cons. So the pros on a motorbike is obviously it's easy to weave in and out of traffic. It's definitely fun to drive. It sips gas, so it's inexpensive to buy, it's inexpensive to keep, it's inexpensive to maintain, and it's super easy to park. If I go to any establishment of any size, they have parking attendants there. And all you have to do, or all I have to do, is wheel up on my bike and literally just park it right there in front and walk away from it. And the guy will put it away for you. And you come out, I give them 10 pesos, which is, 5 pesos more than most people give them, and off we go. They grab the bike, they pull it out, and it's so easy peasy. So parking is easy, it's cheap, it's fun. Again, it's cost effective. However, I'll give you the cons. If it's raining outside, not fun, not safe, not good. I wear glasses, obviously. I can't wear glasses in the rain. They're going to get colored with water. So I have to take off my glasses, and therefore I'm not going to see as well. Again, more dangerous. Roads are slippery. There's puddles. There's little hidden things that I could see if the pavement was dry that I can't. Potholes, for example. I could go right into a pothole and put the bike down. On and on and on and on and on. If we go on a trip of any magnitude or of any length, I can't do it on the bike. I'm too old. That's just the bottom line. I'm 67. I'm officially elderly. And I was feeling kind of wimpy about all that. Still, it's hard talking to some of my friends that are actually younger than me, and they're saying the exact same thing. They say, man, I ride for like an hour or hour and a half, and my hands get numb, and my butt starts hurting, and my back aches, and the wind comes, and you have these nervous moments, and there's people trying to pass you. So you're on this motorbike, and you can't carry nearly as much stuff as you need, especially if you're going for a couple of 3 days for an extended stay somewhere else on the island. And it's just not as practical. Where a car would fit in, it would have, of course, a trunk on it. It would be enclosed. It would be much safer. It would have air conditioning. You'd never need the heat. And basically, it would just be safer, it would be more comfortable, and you could go the distance. I could drive a car out here 6, 7, 8 hours. I wouldn't get tired. So I'm sitting down in air-conditioned comfort. It's like being in the living room, just moving. So The good and the bad. Here's the bad about the car here in the city is, number one, in the traffic, as opposed to the scooter, I'm gonna have to sit in the traffic until the traffic clears. So if one guy is making one of these 17-point U-turns, that they do, because the streets are so narrow, all the cars have to sit and wait for him to get done and complete his 17-point turn so he can get going. And the people that make the 3-minute right turns, at 5 miles an hour out here, drives you crazy. Anyway, on the scooter, you just whip right through all that stuff. I do it every day. On the car, you're gonna have to sit and wait. Well, that's not a deal breaker. It's just gonna delay your day. But what the real hassle factor, at least here in Little Dumaguete, is if you get to town, say, after 9 o'clock in the morning, parking becomes an issue. And they're building some parking structures, but still, parking is an issue. Just getting in and finding a parking space, number one, is a challenge. And then number two, trying to back out. Usually they have people that'll wave you. They have security guards. They have parking attendants, like I've mentioned, and they will help you out of that arena, if you will, and onto the street. But it's still, the whole town was really, in my heart and mind, was built for motorbikes, not for cars. And there's just this massive uptick in automobiles and trucks in the last 2 years than there was when I first got here 5 years ago. So traffic is no fun. But the upside is, if we go somewhere, we can pack all of our stuff, we can overpack, we can go shopping. If we do go shopping, we can put a cooler in the car so that if I do go to, say, buy food that's frozen, I can just put it in the cooler with some of those ice pack deals and what's it called, dry ice, and still go about my day. Where now, if I go into town with a scooter and I buy something that's frozen or something that's perishable, I gotta go home and drop it off, put it in the refrigerator or the freezer, and then come back and back down the mountain. It tends to get a little tedious. So I have decided that if I do buy a car, it will not be a used one. Used ones just are not, there's not enough juice to the squeeze. People are very proud of their cars. They depreciate them by maybe 10, 20% off a sticker, and they got no problem standing by it. The other problem with buying a used vehicle is the paper trail. It could have been bought here, bought there. I'm not saying that they could be illegal, but I am saying that it could be where it's never ever really going to be your car. It's just going to be a paper trail, and you're one of the list of the people that have owned it. And that seems to work out here. Doesn't mean you can't transfer it again later, but for me it just doesn't sit real well. So you don't save that much money when you buy a used car unless you get the proverbial steal. Now, if another foreigner was selling a car that I knew, and there was enough of a savings there to justify it, I would be happy to buy that car. So if somebody I knew that was an expat, that I knew the guy, that means I would know what kind of guy he is, and I would be familiar with his vehicle. I would be totally comfortable if he was willing to do a fair deal between him and me. But those guys are far and few between. In other words, I know a foreigner has changed the oil, checked up on the car, made the necessary corrections, good chance that we know each other. And, just be honest with me. If you had an accident, has this happened, has that happened? And doesn't mean if it's got a dent in it that I'm not going to buy it. It just means that I just want to know what the real deal is here. If you buy it from a Filipino, again, nothing against the Filipinos, but they have a tendency to ignore the maintenance schedule. They kind of wait until things break. and then they fix it. And why should they change the oil? It's got oil in there. And that's just kind of the mentality. Not all, but there's no way of really telling unless you get a thorough inspection. And then you've got to find the guy that is qualified to do the thorough inspection. And that's hit or miss. So my conclusion is, if I buy a car here, it will be a brand new one. Two of my friends have just pulled the trigger to buy cars, and they came to the same conclusion. One's buying a brand new Suzuki, and the other one, he's got it on order, and the other guy has bought a brand new Toyota, and he's already taken possession of it. The car that May and I are looking at is called a Toyota Rego, and it's the subcompact. It appeals to me because of its size, number one. It's a subcompact. It's a little four-door. It's got like a Ford Fiesta, if you will, back in the day. And it's got enough stuff on it that I'm really happy about, such as a backup camera, and I believe it's got a built-in dash cam, and it's got the air conditioning, and it's got it's automatic, power windows, locks, all that kind of stuff that I don't really care about, but it's there. And the price on one of those, brand new, is right around $14,000 for a brand new car. It's just, to me, is a great deal. It's a three-banger, so it's no hot rod, but it's a Toyota. Brand new warranty, 3-year warranty. Toyota's got a very good reputation. I worked for Toyota back in the day. I'm familiar with them. I'm not familiar with a Toyota out in the Philippines, but from the guys that have bought them and owned them, I've heard no complaints. Are we going to pull the trigger? The answer is not right now. And I'll go into that more in depth in another video, but I'll take a couple, 3 minutes and tell you why. I'm a big believer in need versus want. So, do we really need a car? And I have to be honest with myself and say no, we don't. Because we do not have the aforementioned desire to really take any of these big, long car trips. We don't have the need to have a car for groceries. We've got that settled. We've got that figured out. May and I go and do what we call our big shopping once every month or 2 months even. And we just load up, I call it the Costco run, where we get the toilet paper and a bunch of chicken and a bunch of this and a bunch of that, and all the accoutrements, the toothpaste, and we buy 5 of everything and just load up. And then May hops on a trike, and it costs us $6 for the guy to come up the hill with all of our stuff and deliver it for us. So, do I need a $13,000 car to go to the market when I can get a trike once or twice a month, or once every 2 months rather, for $6? No. Parking in my current place is not optimal. It is a driveway. It's rock driveway. And I've had about 2 trees, no, 1 tree and 1 tree branch in some high winds from my neighbor fall right into the driveway. During Odette, obviously the typhoon, that's nothing that shocks me. The tree fell into my house. But the fact that a branch just arbitrarily fell about 2 weeks ago into the driveway from my neighbor took me back a little bit. And I thought, that's where the car would have been parked. And it would have been honked on by this fucking friggin' tree branch, I mean. And there goes the left side of my car. Did I really just say that? And the tree during Odette would have cut it in half, because that was a big tree. So, or at least crushed it. So I think about that. And I'm thinking, you know what, the optimum thing is for us to move and have a place with a proper carport, because also the car will be parked out in the elements. So either we got to get a car cover that we got to put on and take off each time, Or we got to buy a tent thing to go over it, and I'm sure that thing will blow away next good wind. And I'm finding myself saying, for a minimalist, Paul, you're not doing a very good job. You just keep coming up with more and more expenses here, and it is going to eat a lot more gas and cut more into the budget. So, need versus want. I am currently still able to just hang at the house, and May's cool with it too, when it's rainy season. 2, 3, 4 days in the house, we're actually okay with that. We can get a ride from a friend or whatnot if push come to shove. And I can drive the bike, and May can go with me. You just put on our rain gear, and we can get into town if we need to. Go to the doctor, go get medicine, go get food, just get out of the house. It's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be comfortable, but I think the real time that I will pull the trigger is when I realize that it's just not safe anymore for me to be driving. And I have a feeling within a year or so that's going to be the case on the motorbike. Every year I don't get any younger, believe it or not. I'm less nimble. I don't have as much upper body strength. My reactions are not as quick. My eyesight is not as good. And so it is time in the near future. It will be a need as opposed to a want. We'll keep one of the bikes and probably sell the other one. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Or give it away. Or just keep them. I don't know. What else was I going to tell you? Another reason, and I'm going to do a future video about this in depth, is that next month, God willing, May and I are going to be taking a trip to Thailand. And we're going to be spending a couple of 3 weeks there. And then I floated the idea to May that once we get that done, her and I should take a trip to maybe Vietnam and then maybe Kuala Lumpur, just for her to see the world. And I've been to these places. I haven't been to Kuala Lumpur, but I've been to Thailand and Vietnam. And I would get a real kick out of seeing it through her eyes and watching her see it. And I floated the idea past May this morning. I said, what do you think that we go there for a couple of weeks and see how we like it? I know I like Thailand already. I could live there. But I don't know about you. And Vietnam. I don't like Vietnam that much, but I could hang there for a while. And Kuala Lumpur, I got no clue. And I floated the idea to May that maybe we could spend, instead of 3 weeks, we could spend 3 months in Thailand. Come back to the Philippines for 3 months, and then go live in Kuala Lumpur for 3 months. And instead of having a real permanent address to a house like this, we would just Airbnb it, or we would just go back to places that I know about here that are cool, like Big Rock, where we used to live. There's Marpas, there's Dulce Vida. There's places that I know that we could stay here in the Philippines for 1, 2, 3, 4 months at a time, without all the big hoopla with all the security deposits and firsts and lasts and leases and everything. It's just kind of a come and stay as long as you want, and when it's time to go, just give us notice. So if we were bouncing between countries, I'm not sure I would want to have a car over here in storage, along with 2 motorbikes and a bunch of other stuff. But that's another video for another time. I want to bounce that past you guys much more in depth, and after I talk to May a little bit more about it. All right, well, that's it. Am I buying a car? Maybe. That's the answer. All right, I'll see you later.